On this episode of AV Week, securing remote management software devices and the software, recycling AV products and e-waste, and Premier Mounts gets purchased. All that and more next on AV Week.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is AV Week, episode 496, recorded Friday, February 19th, 2021. Recycling AV.
Support for AVNation is brought to you by Kramer, AV Beyond the Box, and by
Sennheiser. For over 75 years, Sennheiser has been a leader in pro audio and is now offering a wide variety of touchless and traditional audio solutions for both corporate and educational campus-wide audio.
And by
Vadio, makers of the new NDI professional broadcast camera, the RoboShot 30E NDI, with simultaneous HDMI and full NewTek NDI streaming.
This is AV Week, your weekly wrap-up of audio, visual, news, and information. My name is Tim Albright. I am your host. With us to discuss the news and information we have gathered this week, we will do ladies first. Charmaine Torella. I say it that way because I can't say it the other way. So go ahead and say it, Charmaine.
Charmaine Torella.
Thank you, ma'am.
And I am from Verix, Global Managed Services Manager.
Excellent. Also with us is Mr. Dave Hatz, who has a brand spanking new job. So I'll let him introduce where he's from now. But he is an old friend of this program. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me, bud. Yeah, just fresh in the reins a couple of weeks here as Vice President of Technology for Room Ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations there. And a young man I met in Amsterdam a number of years ago at ISE, David Capini from Matrox. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. You already got my name, so.
First story for today. Premier Mounts, good Lord, has been purchased by Gamber Johnson. Gamber Johnson purchased them this week. If you're not familiar with them, they are a mount manufacturer for all sorts of things. CEO of Gamber Johnson says Gamber is a market leader in mounting technology in mobile environments, where Premier is a leader in mounting displays in static environments. The combination of these two market leaders will genuinely create results greater than the sum of its parts. Charmaine, we'll start with you on this when it comes to working with clients and looking at, a new merger and acquisition. What does it do when you're trying to, put in a system, work with a client, work on a design, and a new merger and acquisition comes in, and suddenly, a product has a new owner?
This merger and acquisition in particular is going to be a good thing because, let me put it to you for the healthcare sector. That's a good example. We'll start there.
Okay.
Gambler does a lot of the mobile integrations. Healthcare, one of the things, healthcare utilities, government agencies, they're already mounting solutions in vehicles mostly, right? Vehicles. When it comes to healthcare, this is a huge thing. So to be able to mount some AV things that tie back to the static things in the head ends of facilities of a lot of healthcare institutions is going to be huge. For us as an integrator, it gives us more ability to play to some other interesting designs that we can do for the customers that we have in those sectors. Very important, especially with Gambler, knowing that they predominantly service a lot of government agencies. This is also going to be strong for the amount of money that's coming in to the government sector now, which is revamping its technology, right? And I mentioned that a couple of podcasts ago, that the government has plans of putting billions of dollars to really enhancing their very old infrastructure in every way for their mobile forces, especially, right? The Army, the military, things like that. This is going to be so huge, and it's going to give us as integrators more ability to get in deeper into these industries where we were not able to do so before. And for Premier Mounts, really, it's going to be, I'm interested to see how they map this out. Very excited and very anxious to hear more about it.
All right, very good. Mr. Hatz, same kind of question is as you're designing systems, and Charmaine mentioned actually an element that I didn't even think about, and that's the DoD segment in the government sector. what kind of tools does this give you as you're going in and you're designing systems and getting them kind of ramped up and presented to the clients?
Well, if you think about it, we're talking about sectors that, as an integrator, we're trying to get greater traction in typically.
Yeah.
We have a point of contact who is the AV audience, but we're trying to get further into the IT audience, further into the facilities audience, further into other stakeholders. And when a company like Premier is now part of Gambler, they're getting in there, they're coming in there and there's name recognition around the products, around the solutions. And so someone who has been responsible for these other areas, as Charmaine pointed out, they're now, their portfolio of things they're seeing are opened up. So they're being exposed to the audio video industry without us doing anything to start with. And so it gives us the opportunity now to follow that up with and come in. I would assume that there's going to be the opportunity working with Premier. They're going to be brought in, the traditional Premier group, they're going to be brought into new opportunities, new lines of business, new areas of business. And so they're going to bring the integrator community in with, because they need someone to complete their solutions. So I think, as Charmaine really pointed out well, it's just going to open up more doors. And it's super exciting anytime you see something like this, where it's not just two companies that do the same thing or very similar coming together. It's really two, yes, both companies deal with mounts, but it's two different sectors that are coming together. And, as the statement said, I'm really excited to see what that sum of the parts can be and how much greater it can be. It'll be neat.
Yeah. Dave, Dave Capani, this reminds me of Panduit and Atlona, and the fact that of what Hatsie just said. It said different sectors, right? Different things, different areas. Talk for a second about that idea of, coming together as two separate companies and leveraging everybody's, their strengths in their own sectors, really.
Well, I mean, those are all good mergers that you mentioned, right? Because usually it's one eating a bit of the market share of the other one. But in the Gambler one with Premier, I'm sure they don't actually have a lot of overlap between them, even though they have very similar technologies because of where they specialize. So that union is fantastic, because there's so much of that Venn diagram that's unique and not overlapping, yet they're all in the same space. Really, it's a valuable move. And although I don't deal with those companies directly through Matrox, it's our customers that will deal with them. But all of our video wall customers and everything that Matrox sells is multi-display. So, those mounts are a big part of our customers' downstream business. And if we look at Panduit and Atlona, you have a great match up there, right? Because Panduit is the cabling and the connector guy and the audio guy through some other acquisitions, and meeting them up with Atlona is a really good matchup because they're completely complementary. So those are great mergers. When I see those, it's really exciting because it's purely additive. When they both do the same thing and they just ate them for market share, it's less interesting or less exciting. So this one's really a great merger.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Atlona Panduit one was one 2 years ago now. I wasn't quite what to make of it at the time. Happy for the folks at Atlona. But yeah,
I think it's good. And there's been other mergers, like Belden bought up Grass Valley, for example. Belden, a complete cable maker, and they bought a broadcast company completely asymmetric, or Think Logical, as a KVM company. So those are great additions because they sell a lot. They touch those markets now from two very different perspectives, and they actually end up doing a good job of leveraging their technology that way.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Good for them. And maybe we should be selling more cables, because these cable guys seem to be doing quite well.
Thanks for checking out this first segment of AVWeek. To check out the rest of the episode for free, click on the link below or go by the website, avnation.tv. It's avnation.tv.